よろしくお願いします。
じゃあ、簡単に僕の自己紹介から
はい、お願いします。
今私年齢でいくと60歳、日本でいうと還暦って言っておじいさんの仲間入りしてるんですけどゲーム業界は28歳の時、今から32年前、たまたまセガという会社の、ファウンダーオーナーが、私の、上司だったので、セガというゲームの会社のオーナーから、このゲームの世界のことを学んだのがきっかけです。
矢野と申します。MetaX ではクリエイティブ、チーフクリエイティブオフィサーをやらせていただいています。かれこれゲーム業界ではもう27年目に突入しているんですけど、キャリアとしてはプレイステーション2のゲームからいろいろ開発を、なんで日本で言ってんだろう。I should speak English.
で、その時に初めてゲーム会社に、投資をして、そのゲーム会社をハンズオンで、バリューアップをするっていう仕事を、20代の時にスタートした。で、同じ時に、僕の矢野さんは実は、中目黒っていう東京の、エリアで、僕の会社がスパイク、矢野さんの会社がイニスっていう形で同時期に、事業活動をやっていた。
And our company was able to experience a very large growth cycle due to the fact that a lot of the emergent platforms were coming out in that day. Everything from PlayStation 2, Sega Saturn, and Nintendo platforms, they were all coming out at that same time.
で、特に、その時に、我々コンセプトとして、どうやってゲームで我々の会社を認知させていくかっていうことを考えた時に、なるべく言語に頼らないコンテンツを開発するということに注力している。つまり、ローカライズ、どの国に行ってもローカライズの量が少なくても、すぐ遊べるようなゲームを開発したいというのが我々の会社のコンセプト。逆に、我々が開発してなくて、海外のいいデベロッパーが開発したものを日本に持ってきてローカライズして販売することも当然やっていく。で、一番最初にメジャーとして有名になったのが、プロレスゲーム。
Sai, do you remember this game?
見どころはどういったところになりますかね。
そうですね。お互いに今日は負けるわけにはいきませんから、最後はもう意地と意地のぶつかり合いになるんじゃないでしょうかね。
そうですか。さあ、ではそのあたりを注目してまいりたいと思います。乾いた音が館内に響きます。掴みます。打ってまいります。
You remember, Sai? We used to play this game. I can't believe they made it.
これはまだゴムゴムですね。
そうですか。打ち込んでまいります。蹴ってまいります。張ってまいります。張ります。フロントからのキック、エルボー、張ります。組みに行きます。
こういった形でですね、プロレスは全世界キックもパンチも共通の言葉なのですぐ遊べるようになるっていうので、やって
Wow, Cyrus, blast from the past, huh? I can't believe we're meeting Murakoshi-san, who made these pro wrestling games.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Global thing, so it doesn't require any localization.
次に、
Colin McRae, Sai. We played this too, Sai, at the arcades. 懐かしいですね。 Wow. So I have a quick question. So the first company that Murakoshi-san was working for, was that because Colin McRae is a SEGA game, right? It came from SEGA. Is that correct? Or
No, it was actually a release from Spike.
Oh, I see.
So Murakoshi-san was the first CEO of Spike, which is actually now called Spike Chunsoft because they merged with this other developer. But so he was the initial CEO of that.
I see. Because do you remember in the days, the Colin McRae was a Sega arcade game as well, right?
Yes, that was the arcade version.
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe actually that one, like Sega licensed it from Codemasters as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they licensed it. That makes sense. Remember, Sai, like when we used to go back in the arcade, that was one of the major. That one in Daytona. Do you remember, Arisa?
Sega too. Yeah.
で、あと、その後は、プレイステーションで初めて侍をテーマにして作ったゲーム。
This still looks really, really good. When was this? Which year did Murakoshi-san build this game?
Yeah, probably around 2004, 5, somewhere around there, probably.
And it took 3 years to develop the game, correct?
Apparently, yes.
You're saying, yeah.
When I started, this was actually the first game that I ever made. I designed the game and I programmed it. This is all programmed in assembler back in the day. With PlayStation 2 games, you had to program an assembler. So, yeah.
まあ、その歴史の続きなんですけど、僕は35歳の時に、このまま自分でゲームをずっと作り続けるのかなって疑問を持った時に、まあ、ちょうどプレイステーションが大人気になって、僕の会社を買いたいっていう、まあ、日本の、上場企業が、まあ、ゲーム会社を買いたいということで来たので、何を思い立ったか僕はバイアウトしてしまうんですね。で、一旦、そのゲームの業界から離れて、まあ割と海外に、もうその時に香港に移住したんで、客観的に、まあゲーム業界をずっと見てきたと。で、僕がちょうど離れる時に、プレイステーションから、日本の i モードとかモバイルゲームがちょっとこう、始まるところだったんですね。で、セミリタイアしてて、まあ日本からゲーム会社が協力してほしいとか出資してほしいとかいろいろまあ話が来たんですけども、約今から6年前ぐらいに矢野さんと、知り合って、まあ当時から知ってはいたんですけど、久しぶりに再会して、今もずっと矢野さんがゲームを作り続けてるっていうお話を聞きながら、何か一緒にできないかっていう相談を受けたのがきっかけ。
So yeah, I believe my core strengths are in corporate development and business management. I typically tend, even with my past companies, to leave the game creation to the game creators. And I would think more about, the overall kind of product business and the business scheme around how we should be selling product. So as an example, with the pro wrestling games, that was one of the first games that actually, licensed actual pro wrestling teams and pro wrestlers in the fold. And that was an idea that I had against a prototype that was still, using fictional characters. So things like this, I think I bring that part of it to the table to bring that the business acumen and the business savvy in product development, especially around games. When I first heard Yano-san's pitch for the game Dark Machine, it used to be, the project name was actually initially called Project Carbuncle. And so when I heard the project, Yano-san was pitching it to me as a Web 2 game. And he had this vision of a deep integration between like an esports platform and a really interesting and fun game. And I really liked that vision and that idea. I quickly realized that games were coming into an era where there could be a much wider audience using the power of blockchain and Web3. And so I pitched to him that we should take Dark Machine into the Web3 space.
So this is a perfect transition. So when we look at today's format, so we just talked about the team. So we understood Murakoshi-san and Yano-san's background, but also how they met each other. And now we're moving to the second T, which is the technology. So my question for you, Murakoshi-san, is, a lot of people compare Web 2 gaming and the potential of Web3 gaming as two separate things. But when I talk to people who really understand gaming, they say it's not bridging, it's actually combining together Web2, Web3 to make a new world. What for you, Murakoshi-san, is important about Web3, about using Web3 for the future of games?
いくつか重要なポイントあるんですけど、もう一つ僕のキャリアの中ですごく大きな影響を受けたことが一つあって、まあ、ゲームの会社をやっていたと同時に、セガサミーの役員もやっていたので、特にサミーという会社の役員をやっていたんですけれども、サミーというのは、まあ、これ海外の方はあんまり、知らないかもしれないんですけれども、日本では、ギャンブルマシーンを作っている会社で、日本に約1万店ぐらいのギャンブル店舗に、そのハードを送って、まあ、1ゲーム500円から1000円ぐらいで、3時間ぐらいやると、まあ、2、3万円使って、リターンバックするっていうようなゲームが遊べるところがあって、その会社をやっていたので、一方ゲームはお金を払うだけで、時間を消費していくっていう、まあ、この2つの会社の経営を携わっていたので、まあ、そういう意味では、お金を稼ぐゲーム、お金を払うゲーム、両方を経験したっていうのがすごく大きなポイント。
And, as you may know, with pachinko, you are actually, paying to play the game. But as you're playing the pachinko game, you may experience some type of return at that point. And this is in stark contrast to a traditional just a game that, for example, on the SEGA side that they were making, where you would just pay to get the entertainment value of a game product. And me being on straddling kind of both sides of that coin really helped me to develop what we currently call Web3 today, the kind of the fundamentals of how you might want to think about that. Yeah, so when I first was introduced to Web3, I remembered those roots, and I thought, in Web3, if there is a promise of play to earn or something to earn, where you instead of just like paying to play a game and getting the entertainment value of it, if there was some way that you can actually earn through the power of blockchain, yeah, I thought that would be a really great thing and would definitely be the next step, the future of gaming. And the second point, there's a second point, which is, in Japan, I give this example, but, the other day, the movie Godzilla -1, that got an award for special effects. They did that at about a tenth of the budget of typical Hollywood production films. And that you can see, this being the case for not just, visual creation movies, but it also is in the same in the game space as well, where, there are obviously large AAA productions, that spend hundreds of millions of dollars and they're building large scale games, but that's still very, very few and far between. For the rest of the creators that are trying to come up with, new game ideas, new products, there's really no good way to, come up with the funding for that. There hasn't been a good funding model for that. So that's where I believe that Web3 also provides a really great crowdsource option for those kind of creators where they can fund these new ideas, get them out to market through the power of Web3.
That makes a lot of sense because I think in Web3, this crowdfunding, crowdsourcing component gets more people to invest who will eventually probably become your players as well, right? So you get investors and players at the same time. I have a question. So as you were saying, Murakoshi-san, the game started with a pay-to-play model, and then there was a play-to-earn model, and now some people talk about skill-to-earn models. Now the issue is with some of the shooter games, first-person shooter, is that, for example, with Call of Duty, the pros, the experts are so good, normal people and players like myself, if we enter the game, they kill us immediately. So it's too much on the skill side and maybe a little bit of a lack of luck on the other side. And I know, Yano-san, you told me something where obviously you have to have skill, but what is the perfect balance? You don't want to discourage, beginner users, but you don't want to discredit the pros that play this very seriously. I know it's a very difficult question, but if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's a great question, Alex. So the way we think about it is, yes, yeah, you're right. There will be a large skill gap between your professional players and your not so good players. But we do think it's really important. And, I love to play golf. And, one of the things, you're not always playing with, everybody that's a good golfer. You're playing with, poor golfers, in the same round as well. And, for golf, there's a handicap system. And that system allows, even players that aren't that good to possibly, win in a round or something like that. So I feel that, games that have this skill to earn component need to implement something similar to that, where, it's not just great for the pros, but, let's say just for example, people that aren't that high skilled, they can play against each other and they can still, enjoy some amount of winning and losing. And then there are other systems that, like, for example, that's one of the reasons why we made the game a max 7v7, is that the more players that you have, the weight of one person becomes a little bit lessened. So you can imagine that, there might be like not so skilled players within a team of 7 that can still, contribute and still win as a team. So yeah, the product is already kind of designed in that way where it's very flexible from, 1v1 to max 7v7, from, really low level, low skill levels to the highest skill level. And I would also add just from my side is that, one of the really important things about esports is that dynamic range of skill. Is like the games that do really well in esports, they all have a dynamic range of, even poor players have fun, but the great players have something that they can do that's really special that people can't duplicate, and that's what makes it entertaining to watch. So it's got to be a little bit of both.
Wow, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And so, if I understand well, Dark Machine is not just a game. You also have an esports league and protocol. Is that correct? Is that one of the blue oceans that you're creating with MetaX?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, although Dark Machine is the product that we're starting with, we're designing it with, having really a robust support for this platform protocol that we're developing. We want to open this protocol up to not just our games, but to many other games in the future as well, and create communities around these platforms. Yeah, so for our future vision, yeah, we think that's a very important strategy for MetaX.
So yesterday I was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and my daughter, she is 8 years old. Zelda is very difficult RPG game. There are many commands, but she really enjoys just watching. She really, really enjoys watching me play and fight the bad guys. Is there also a component for the fans with MetaX? Are you trying to have a product that is not just suited for professional players, average or beginner players, but also for fans and people to enjoy the battles?
So this again, I think I need to go back to some of my history and my roots. Back when I was working on the rally game, one of the features in it that back then was very difficult to not only implement but to get a license for was actual realistic damage of the cars. The auto manufacturers just wouldn't allow it. And we were actually one of the first games to implement a realistic destruction model towards the cars. And what we realized was that in implementing that, the replay videos that you could actually create after the rally was over, this was in popular games back in the day, like Gran Turismo as well. But those became very, very popular back in the day. When they saw like videos of Comic Rally, they knew it was that game because of the destruction model that was in there. So we're trying to do a similar thing with Dark Machine this time, where we've implemented a destruction engine in the game. And this is not just for the mechs, but also the map as well can get destroyed. And not only is that a spectacle to watch, it's just, it's something that, you can't really foresee exactly what's happening because it's all physically based, calculations. I think that, the player base always likes to watch something that, they don't know exactly what they're going to get. And there's a lot of entertainment value in that. So that's one of the reasons why the destruction is so high fidelity in the game.
Oh, that's so interesting. I think replays are very fun for everyone to watch. So it really brings, a great atmosphere in the room, which makes a lot of sense. And as you said, it's surprising, it's unexpected. So it adds to the emotions of the viewer. Now, I have a question with regards to the blue ocean. For those who do not understand the blue ocean concept, a blue ocean is usually when you take two different worlds and combine them together to make something new and different, a new market. And of course, with Web 2 gaming and Web 3 gaming, the industry is creating a blue ocean. But if I look at MetaX and Dark Machine, I feel that you guys are also creating a blue ocean because you're combining esports, you're combining a Dark Machine game, but you're also combining an anime series. And of course, Japanese anime, by the way, Akira Toriyama-san, rest in peace. You were one of the most amazing people out there. We love you. And for all the supporters of Dragon Ball. But why do you believe this component is important for the Dark Machine series? And why have you decided to add an anime series?
Yeah, so up until this point, well, first of all, and I'll add a little bit of color from my side as well. But, anime, obviously, for Japan is a very natural, entertainment medium, as everybody knows. And it's, recently become very, very globally popular. Now, there have been anime, that came out, and then, there are games based on anime. But there haven't been a lot of projects where there's been a really strong synergy element between the anime and the game. And that's one of our challenges that, we were trying to overcome with this project is that, we really started the project from day one as a cross-media project, as a game and anime project. We brought in, global legend status creators into this for this, Goro Taniguchi of One Piece film Red fame, as well as the creative code Gias, as well as our lead mech designer is Hidetaka Tenjin. He's famous for Macross mechs as well as Gundam mechs. We brought in these two industry legends to work with us on something that can be truly synergistic, which we believe still hasn't really been done to a high level, even within Japan. So yeah, we're excited about the possibilities of that. And I'll just add from my side as well that anime is something, again, we are a Japanese team. Fundamentally. And so we have a lot of great access to not only Japanese IP, but the creators behind them. And our locality to these creators, allows us to make these challenges. And it also gives us a distinct advantage in terms of how we, brand this IP, how we popularize this IP, because it won't just be a game. It'll be on, things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, on TV, as a broadcast series episode as well. So yeah, we're really excited about the possibility that brings just for even branding the game, not to mention just having it be a very a strong cross-media entertainment experience that hopefully lots of people can enjoy.
Yeah, so you brought up a very important topic, which is IP. Very, very important. Because I think a lot of games and people out there, they say, I'm going to create the next Pokemon Go. But they don't realize that it's so difficult to get that brand and IP because there's so many years of work. So it's not as easy as people think. And I would love to hear from you, Murakoshi-san and Yano-san, what kind of IP are you planning on using and why is it important in fast tracking the popularity of Dark Machine?
So to answer your question, for us, again, being in Japan, having, great access to this IP, we want to leverage where we can great IP in Japan. And we're already getting a lot of offers for collaborations with Dark Machine, offers to do exclusive games on our platform with a lot of IP holders over here. So there's a lot of excitement around that. But we also think at the same time that that's one of the reasons why we're putting in so much energy into the platform protocol is that regardless of whether the IP is big or large or even with original IP, there's a bit of risk there, and to have the platform protocol there really helps us to kind of support lots of games at the same time, while at the same time lowering the business risk there. So we do think that's for MetaX as a company, it seems like a really good strategy to go. And it also helps us to acquire a lot of these IPs because they want to be on our platform as well. So, one of our investors is one of the chairmen of Bandai Namco. They're going to, we're going to be working with them really closely on collaborations and things like that. So yeah, we're really excited about IP usage moving forward. And even in the past, we've been able to license the Evangelion license, which is one of the, top 10 anime of all time in Japan. And, we plan to do things with that as well. So yeah, a really exciting future.
Yeah, I'm also very, very excited, Murakoshi-san and Yano-san. And the reason why I'm excited is because I think that some games only succeed in Japan or Asia, and some games only succeed in the United States or Europe. But I feel that Dark Machine can cross over into both worlds, because you have Evangelion, as you mentioned, in Asia, which is huge. Then you have Transformers in the West, which is huge. But then my next question comes to, we already know that this battle royale, battle arena type style with Fortnite is a big success in the world. Fortnite, I think, is hitting all the records for most concurrent players, for total amount of active players on a monthly basis. Is your game similar to what Fortnite does, and what are the differences in your shooter arena?
So, Fortnite, as you mentioned, is a battle royale game. We're more of a battle arena style game. So I would say it's a little bit more old school in that way, but we've kind of purposely designed it that way so that, it's not individual players. Like with the battle royale, you got 100 individual players all battling to be king of the hill, essentially. Where we're doing a team style game. And the reason why we chose that is for reasons that we mentioned earlier about, having all kinds of skill level players come into one team, feeling like they contributed, and, give them a chance to earn as well. So it was really more about, how we thought about how these types of games could be really, do well in the Web3. And with that, just to answer your question earlier about, if I suck, well, can I still make money? The answer is yes. And we've, purposely designed it in a way where it wasn't really about the individual. It was really more about groups and communities and leagues and teams, which we feel is a lot more Web3 as well, because, as we all know, Web3 communities, that's a really important part of, living in the Web3 ecosystem. So we wanted to really build a platform, a game that could really support that.
So just looking at today's flow, we already talked a lot about the team. We talked about the technology. We talked about the theme and the trend. Now, if you don't mind me asking about the NFTs and token itself. So can you please let us know on a very simple basis, what is the token for, what type of NFTs? I know you have a very exciting NFT concept with different types of robots. And so, yeah, please, I won't spoil anything. I'll let you explain it from your side.
Yeah, so in terms of the NFT, we really have a very wide NFT strategy. It's going to start from things like first access passes, which we're going to have a sale for this month. We are super oversubscribed on that. Thanks to everybody for that. We're about 121 oversubscribed on that. So yeah, thank you to everybody that pre-registered for that. But including things like that, we also, the actual mechs themselves in the games are going to be NFTs. They are going to be kind of these nested, customizable NFTs where players can go in, customize their mechs, and they'll have like the mechs of their own liking and things like that. And it'll be a very robust system for players to be able to go in there and do these customizations against NFTs. So that's something we're really excited about. And what's one of the things that's really cool about the mech concept or the theme is that people just automatically naturally equate this customization into mechs and to NFTs. So yeah, we think that it's going to bring a lot of value to the NFTs that we offer, and we will have a lot of them, a lot of variety in the NFTs as well, which will obviously help to keep the value of the NFTs high for everybody as well. And yeah, we feel that trading of the NFTs is going to be really exciting. It's almost like you have a favorite car, and you're trading your favorite car for the latest Ferrari or something like that. So yeah, we're really excited about the NFTs that are going to be releasing on Dark Machine.
Super cool. And how does how is the token integrated in the game? Do you have like some early use cases and maybe a vision on the future use cases?
Sure. So we've got a lot that we're planning on the token side. I would say, one of the, two of the important things that are going to happen for the token. So everything that's purchasable in the game is going to be purchasable through tokens as well. Things like battle passes, things like, anything on the NFT marketplace, stuff like that. That's all going to be there, of course. But I think what's more exciting for us is the actual the platform protocol, where the tokens are going to be used for that as well. And so everybody from tournament organizers, which are going to be our users, to sponsors, and our players, they're all going to be connected through the fabric of the tokens. So there's going to be a lot of utility and use cases. It's going to span everything from tournament rewards to sponsoring tournaments, entry fees, stuff like that. And so, we feel that there's going to be a lot more utility for the tokens than perhaps like, your traditional games that don't, support it, support tournaments like that, at least in the traditional way. So, we're really excited about a lot of the use cases that are going to be coming. And this is what I just described right now is really just a small segment of what we're going to be doing. We've got lots of exciting staking things that we're doing that's going to provide a lot of value, not only from an investment standpoint, but also for our players, as they stake, we're going to have lots of VIP offerings for our stakers and for our top stakers even more. So we're excited to be able to announce a lot of those things moving forward.
That's super cool because it sounds like there's a B2B utility, a B2C utility, a fan utility, a player utility. So that is really exciting to hear. And congratulations for having 120 to 1 purchases for these very cool robot NFTs. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about how it's designed? When I look at these robots, they don't look like some sort of shiny metal. There's a lot of detail in the carbon and the graphite and the way the textures of the metal and the armors. So if you don't mind guiding us through what these robots are and what was your train of thought when creating them?
Sure. Yeah. So these mechs, they are not your typical kind of mechs that you would actually pilot. So it's not like there's a human in them and somebody's like going, like powering them. They're actually they're sentient, self-propelled mechs. And so they sport this hyper AI. And so as players, you're kind of like a commander of the mech, and you're actually giving the mech kind of commands in order to execute what it needs to execute in. So in this world, these mechs are actually, they originally stem from factory worker robots. And over the many years within the fiction, they kind of grew and expanded and got technologically advanced to a point where they could be, kind of self-sentient. And this battling is like a modern sport in the world of Dark Machine. So because of that, you see lots of materials, different types of materials get used in the mech, and that's all because they came from like factory, robot arms and stuff like that. If you've ever been to like an automobile factory or something, it's not just like metal. There's tubing, there's plastic tubing, there's like fabrics where there's are movable parts, things like that. So we try to kind of bring that vibe where these mechs were originated from these factories, and that the factory worker, they're essentially disgruntled factory workers, kind of started this whole Dark Machine tournament as a way to kind of pass the time when they were bored in the factories. And there's a whole fiction around that, which I won't get into today. But and so the mech designs really kind of try to reflect that they came from these kind of places.
Okay, great. And so for the traction side of things, which is one of the important T's in today's interview. So you mentioned the NFTs going really well. How much development? What are some key numbers, Yano-san, that you love to share in terms of how long you guys have been doing this? Obviously, the community is starting to grow on socials as well. But what are some specific numbers that you're proud of at this stage of Dark Machine?
I think one of the important parts for us is that we were able to form a very good team and group and community of folks and partnerships for this project. As you may or may not know, we've gathered quite the roster of partners, starting again, with the creatives, Goro Taniguchi as the creative producer and Hidaka Tenjin as the lead mech designer. But even, in developing the game part, we've got great partners like Immutable, Sui on board. And we have very deep integrations with the technology, as well as, how we go to market and promotions and things like that. We've also received large grants from Immutable. I can't say how much, but it's large, I'll just say. All that has been good. And also, we mentioned the anime portion of the project as well. We're working with, we can't say who it is yet, but it is a large media TV broadcaster in Japan. They do lots of anime in Japan, and they are spearheading our anime efforts on Dark Machine as well. We will be able to make an announcement on exactly who that is in the near future. But for now, we'll just say, it's a large terrestrial broadcast channel station in Japan. And also a whole bunch of investors from the game community as well, like SEGA, Bandai Namco, also Tencent have all invested in this project. So we are very humbled by all of the support we've been receiving from investors as well as the community at large. So as a first point of traction, I think we think it's important for us to mention those things first.
And I don't think we need to add anything else, because just those backers like Sega, Bandai Namco, Tencent, which is the largest gaming company in the world, Immutable X Grant, that's incredible, guys.
And additionally, so we were at an event last year that was in Manila, in the Philippines. We actually hosted a small tournament during this event. And during that event, we probably had, we did a full 7v7 match. There were probably several hundred people in the audience, overlooking, what would happen in the match. And one of the great things about that is that, in addition to the fact that it was just, really cool to have a full house crowd in the audience, is that, when, one team won and one team lost, everybody was really on the edge of their seats. And that excitement that we were able to generate, and that we were able to actually experience that ourselves, really gave us a lot of conviction as to this game will potentially be very, very exciting, and we can't wait to get it in the hands of a lot of players. And I should also mention, because of that event and some other things that we had done, we're going to be announcing very, very soon, and probably after this goes out, a global strategic partnership with YGG. So that's going to be very, very exciting. We're going to be augmenting each other's esports protocols. We're really excited to be able to work with them on a global basis.
Wow, that's incredible. Super exciting, super exciting. Now, I think we can go for one last question, and I think it's a very important question. There is a big problem when it comes to Web3 games, Murakoshi-san. And this problem is people have a very short-term view. So maybe they'll do one game and finish, and then the project essentially fades away. And so I would love to hear for you, and I know that you have a very big vision and you have very big plans for the future, but how do you want to sustain Dark Machine's brand and game? Some people, you were telling me the other day, Keiichi-san, that some games, they recreate worlds and they grow with that singular game to scale. Some people will create different games to place, bets on different angles. But how do you see the long-term vision maybe in the next 1, 3 to 5 years?
One of the primary reasons why games don't flourish beyond a couple of months up until this point is that the games simply have not been very fun. And I think, regardless of whether you're talking about Web 2 or Web 3, if you're going to play a game, you primarily play it for fun. And there's only so much you can do, even on our side, there's so much liquidity we can provide, for a game that isn't fun. And I think that's going to be one of the big challenges of Web3 gaming moving forward is that, for these tokenomics and the long-term, prospects of, a good even tokenomics design, game design, all of these things is going to really hinge upon the fact that the game itself is just fun to play and people want to come back, play more, and they want to play a lot of it. So, the first thing that's important is to be able to build a game that's fun. The second thing is once we've done that, then, the onboarding processes can be really, really important. Because again, the current Web3 gaming community is still very small. And we want to bring in lots of Web2 gamers into Web3. And that means, obviously, creating a game that's on par with Web2, that's obvious. But we also have to lower the barriers to entry. So we can't, ask them to, set these, wallets that are really tough, and they need to purchase this like $1,000 NFT, and you have to have like 10 ETH for gas. What's gas, kind of thing, right? So lowering the friction of entry is going to be important, and we're trying to come up with lots of ways that people can, play for free or even play at a reduced rate. Because that's another problem that we see is that a lot of these games are just very expensive to get into. You have to purchase these very expensive NFTs, and that's really the only way you can play them. But if we're going to go to mass market, we need to make sure that it's affordable and at least on par with prices that gamers in Web2 would expect. And that's really the way we think between those two things. Balancing those two things is ultimately what we think is going to give us longevity. These types of games, the service-based model is going to be very, very important. Counter-Strike does this very well. The other, League of Legends does it very well. And they're centered around events and collaborations. And so that's another thing. Again, I go back to the fact that, we're a Japanese team. We have, locality to great IPs and great creators. So, we want to, be able to leverage these creators and these IPs to do lots of events, collaborations, always keep the game fresh. So, we don't have to always, create a new game on top of, whatever, we think that, once we create a game like Dark Machine, and we think it has a lot of staying power and replayability. And if that is the case, then, it's going to be incumbent upon us to, make the game feel fresh, from time to time. And we think, collaborations with, popular IPs, popular creators is going to be one way to do it to keep that fresh. And also, just to be able to provide lots of cool NFTs for everybody as well. So, yeah, we do think that that's going to be the model moving forward. And it's not something new and original. Lots of games do this in the free-to-play space as well. So, what we're doing, we consider it a service-based game. And yeah, we think that's going to be one of the great ways to be able to create longevity as well.
You heard it, everyone. Keeping things fresh with new arenas, new IP, new characters. That sounds absolutely great. So today, for everyone watching out there, we did the 7 T's, or more or less covered most of them, with regards to the team, the technology, the token, the theme, the trend, the traction, and of course the timing and terms and conditions. We'll give you more information about this with regards to SwissBorg Alpha in the very near future. And before we end this interview, Murakoshi-san and Yano-san, can you give us your last thoughts or something that you want to share, last message before we end?
So to all of the players and fans waiting for Dark Machine, thank you for your continued support of what we're doing. We are working very hard to get you guys a really fun and entertaining, not just game experience, but with the anime, with everything else we're doing, we're really trying to create a big universe out here. So yeah, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and yeah, please look forward to our progress in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, but also comment below with your questions. If there are any questions that we have not asked or you do not have an answer, we will try to get this information for you. And please look forward to Dark Machine in the SwissBorg app via Alpha. This could be the hottest Web3 game of 2024. So we're really excited to be partnering up with such an amazing team with so much experience, so much IP, so many ideas, and a long-term vision. Thank you so much, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.